On to the 5A Region D bracket. Interesting enough, we only have one team in this bracket. That's Potomac. Potomac with the 16-7 record this year, playing at home versus Mountain View on Monday, the only Monday game we have. Mountain View 13-12 this year, kind of a 500 team. I do expect Potomac to move on to play a very good North Stafford team, 19-4 this year. Just to kind of make it relative to our area, North Stafford has played a couple of teams in the Northern Virginia area. They beat West Potomac by 2 earlier in the year. They also beat Hilton 63-51. So a very tough matchup for Potomac, but we talk about Potomac and their history and tradition all year. I'm not going to put them winning the whole region out of question, because they do have talent, and we just don't know a whole lot about these other teams. But if they can get by North Stafford, I do see them having the chance to win the region.
You know, what's interesting is people probably think is what's going on with Potomac. Are they a little down? That's kind of the sense I get this year talking to people. But they've been there before. They kind of had a brand new group this year. And you're right. They're used to playing in championship environments and winning tournaments. So, really, this is the second season, and I think they could certainly make a run.
And battle tested. They play in the Cardinal District, which is a 6A district. They won that district, beat Hilton by a lot in the championship. So they've been playing big schools all year. Now they come into a 5 district with the experience they have. I could see them taking it all the way to the state tournament. Brian, let's transition on to the 6A Region C bracket. If Jerry can get that up for us. Now, you have a combination of a couple districts here. You have the Cardinal District from Prince William, with the exception of Potomac. We talked about them being in the 5A region bracket. You have the Gunston District, and you have the Patriot District, both from Fairfax. Let's start here with who I consider to be the favorite, South County, playing the winner of Annandale and Forest Park. Very closely matched teams. Annandale has 2 very potent scorers. Junior Latongo, we talked about as being a very good three-point shooter, leading the way for them. The winner does play at South County on the 21st. If you move down, you have Woodbridge playing the winner of West Potomac and Woodson. You can't count Woodson out. They're the state champs. Here they are playing at West Potomac, but they've got a lot of firepower. I could see Coach Doug Craig getting that game together, but they've got to stop Daryl Mackey. The winner, again, taking on Woodbridge. Down here, Hayfield, the Gunston champion, is going to play the winner of Lake Braddock and Mount Vernon. Lake Braddock, so fun to watch. I saw him play the other day, Brian, and we were at the game. Their T-shirt says, "Greatest show on earth." Now, and I talked to Brian Meachers after the game. They didn't shoot very well that game. They were 9 of 50.
Right.
But
from 3, yeah.
And from 3, and they didn't win that game. They only lost by a couple. But you can see where if they were on, they'd be a very dangerous team to play. And they did play Hayfield earlier on in the year. And I think the game was like 111 to 108 with Hayfield coming out on top. So very fun game to watch. And then as we head down towards the bottom, C.D. Hilton, who did not win that Cardinal District. We mentioned them coming in second place to Potomac, but they will get the 1 seed here, playing the winner of Fairfax and Colgan. Colgan, first time in the region. They get to travel to Fairfax, big gym, a little bit of a ride. Caleb Carter, a very strong player. They're going to need to stop him over at Fairfax, with a real interesting potential of them going back and playing Hilton if they can beat Fairfax. Hilton, led by Marcus Stevens, having a great year, great shooter. So a lot of interesting matchups here, Brian. What else do you see that I might have missed?
Well, you don't miss much, Kevin. But I think we all agree South County is the clear favorite in this region. As far as teams that could make a run, you made a good point here. Woodson, maybe up and down a little bit this year, but defending state champions, they've got a number of college-level players on their team. So if they put it together on any given night, they can go as far as they want to. West Potomac, Daryl Mackey Jr., really dynamic guard, and so oftentimes you hear it's a guard's game. So he's the type of talent that is capable of taking over a game. I would say other interesting thing, Hayfield I think is a little bit under the radar. I think we've talked about a lot of different teams, maybe haven't talked quite about them. They had tremendous star power in Langston Gaither last year, but Coach Poindexter's done a great job with that group. So that's a team that maybe people aren't talking about a lot. And I would say, you talked about Braddock, it really all comes down to whether they're making shots. And they don't have to make a ton of them. They don't have to make a high percentage because they shoot so many. And it's the greatest show on earth when the ball's going in the basket for them. And so if they're hitting shots, again, they can beat anybody as well. It's always interesting to see if teams are going to try to go toe-to-toe with them, like I think Mount Vernon will, and if Braddock gets past that, I think Hayfield will. If they were to play Fairfax again, Fairfax has done a good job slowing them down. So it's also interesting in postseason play to kind of see the contrast in styles that we see. So again, South County, the clear favorite, but a lot of teams in here that will look to challenge them.
All right, let's move on to our last region, our 6A Region D.
Okay. Okay, 6A Region D, 13 teams in this region. We talked earlier about that region that had 4 teams, so we got a bigger bracket to look at here. This is a really deep bracket, I believe, and you'll see it's got 13 because we got Marshall moving up from 5A to playing 6A in postseason play. Let's start up here at the top. Oakton coming off a district championship over Westfield the other night. Micah Johnson-Perrott made a lot of plays down the stretch. Braden Johnson going to Johns Hopkins, good scorer there. They've got size with the big Schultz kid in the middle. So I was impressed with what they did. So they'll play the winner of W&L Battlefield. We talk a lot about some of the great first-round games, and we're just, when we're old retired guys and don't have our own kids to watch, we try to find the best games to go watch on any given night. This will be a really good first-round game. W&L coming off a disappointing loss to South Lakes in their championship game, Battlefield. Also coming off a loss to Osborne in their championship game. So I would imagine both these teams will be playing kind of angry and with a chip on their shoulder, and both of them are capable of making a postseason run. Osborne coming off their district championship draws McLean. I would look for Osborne to move on in that. Congratulations to the Highlanders. Mike O'Brien done a good job at McLean this year. They got to play in a championship game at Christmas time and playing in a regional tournament. So good for those kids. They've kind of stuck it out through some tough times and making a playoff appearance. Marshall, they're the reason we've had like 5 different pages on these brackets, depending upon where Marshall finishes. They beat Wakefield in their conference championship in a 5A league. They move up to play 6A. They'll draw Chantilly. Kendall Mukew, Jim Smith, been doing it forever, won 1 million games at Chantilly. I will say this, tough style to play against with Dan Hale and their zone. Good personnel there. You combine those two things about a tough style to play against and solid personnel, it's tough to play against. Jim Smith will have his guys ready, though. He's been through it many, many times before. Then we've got Madison Herndon, teams that both switched leagues this year. So Madison came over into the Concord. Herndon left the Concord and is in the Liberty, so that's intriguing to see them face each other. These guys lost a tough semifinal matchup against Westfield in the Concord, so that'll be a good one on Tuesday night. And then we've got another great game. If I rank the top first-round games, this would be in the conversation. Westfield and Stonewall. Any team in the Cedar Run, any of those 4 teams, is capable of making a run. And Westfield has won state titles. They play really hard. Had a tough game the other night in the championship game down the stretch. Guard play was really fun to watch. It wasn't necessarily a well-played game for the majority of it until the 4th quarter. And then we had Jordan Hairston, Player of the Year in that league, going toe-to-toe with Micah Johnson-Perrott. It was really fun to watch those 2 guards go head-to-head. Marshall Reed also doing a great job for Westfield. Stonewall, Jordan Gibson, Antonio Warner, Nathan Waddy. They've got a really nice first 5. So this would be a great first-round matchup. Kevin, anything jump out at you?
Yeah, Jerry, if you can go down a little bit. I just want to go back to Osborne and talk about the job that Rocky Carter has done. When we talked about that Cedar Run district, we were talking about Battlefield and Patriot as they kind of came around. But what a job he's done. His second tournament championship, they won last year as well. But he's done a phenomenal job with players that are maybe not as big of a name as the Battlefield kids or maybe the Patriot kids, but the Withers kid shooting the ball really well.
He's had a great season.
And Drake Hugh Hogan, who we know about from last year. But, what a great spot for him to be in. And if, Jerry, if you can go up again down to the last bracket, I want to just highlight maybe what's my favorite part of this bracket, which is the Westfield, Stonewall Jackson, and then the winner playing South Lakes. South Lakes, fun team to watch. Cam Savage playing very well. But Stonewall Jackson's beaten some very good teams, and I think because they're that 4 seed, we forget about them a little bit. But they have a potential to win here against Westfield and even win against South Lakes. I'm not. It's too close to call, but this will be a really fun game or 2 to watch out of this bracket. And then obviously Patriot winning that Cedar Run district, a very good team. But this is a really fun part of this bracket I like.
Yeah, there's going to be some good teams going home. That's what happens this time of year. But this is a great bracket, a deep bracket. Certainly looking forward to watching some of these games. So I think that wraps up our bracket analysis. Other thoughts this time of year. One thing that I've talked to the guys about in this 6A, what is this, Jerry, 6A-D, the entire tournament is played at home sites of the higher seed, which I don't like. We'll see if that changes in the future for a couple of reasons. One, we talked on our Hoopcast, just the advantage you have when you're playing at home in an elimination game. But also, I think, for the whole basketball community as a whole, with the regions being split up, we've got the Occoquan and the Northern now and Fairfax, and games are going to be at different sites, and you could have a girls team for example, Oakton won Concord in boys and girls. If they were to advance all the way through, they could have a doubleheader at home for regional championship.
And a very small gym. They have one of the smaller gyms in that region.
But yeah, small gym, that could be a factor.
People won't be able to watch.
There could be a guys game and a girls game from the same school going on at different sites. So we'll see. I'm not an athletic director. You might be here in a few years, but there's a lot of things that go into those decisions. So a lot of things to think about, a lot of things to talk about this time of year. I know you mentioned the Nova Challenge coming up.
Nova Challenge coming up Sunday, March 18th at Centerville High School will be benefiting Best Buddies, and a lot of the guys we're talking about here today will be at the game. We've had great attendance and great support from the community. If you don't know, we picked the top seniors from each district, and we play 2 games. We play a game of Arlington, Alexandria kids. We'll play this year a Fairfax group. And in the second game, we'll have the Loudon group playing the Prince William seniors. So in between, we do a dunk and a 3-point competition. So great event to celebrate a great season and the basketball we have here in Northern Virginia.
Yeah, it's a really fun event. I'm excited that we can host it at Centerville and benefit Best Buddies. DMVstream.com will live stream the event. I know Chris Jolly from NovaHoops.com will be involved, and really, and Cardinal Basketball Officials Association. We probably don't talk about them a whole lot. We talk about the players and the teams, but they really support us in
every
this
year.
game. Yeah, they donate officials. Officials come and do it for free for a good cause. So it should be a great event. But before that, we've got a lot of good basketball left, and it's been fun breaking down the brackets. And hopefully we'll see you guys in the gym sometime this week.
Best $6, maybe it goes up to $7. I don't know for regional tournament. I can't remember, but there's a lot of great games out there for you to watch. Kids giving their best effort, and it's kind of our version of March Madness in February. So get out and see a game, and support NovaHoops.com and support Nova Hoopcast.
All right.